Because of those foot injuries, he never played the game the first 2 years of his career. It wasn't until 2016 that he started playing. That year, out of the 82 games, he only played 31. His second year, he only played 64. His third year, he played 63. So he ain't played 82 games either. But that's neither here nor there. Let me tell you what the problem with Joel Embiid's argument, according to Brett Brown. 6:20 a.m. The game's at 3:30, y'all. That's 9 hours before the game. I don't care if you got to get up because you couldn't sleep all night and you go straight to the facilities, and in order to make sure you're ready, you're pumped with fluids, medication, or whatever, and you sitting down on a trainer's table and sleeping for about 5 or 6 hours. Ladies and gentlemen, have y'all ever taken a moment to gauge how a little cat nap could make you feel? I have had situations in my career where I could sit down, and I am completely drained, exhausted, devoid of any kind of energy whatsoever. And an hour's sleep would change my day. This man texted the coach 9 hours before the game to say, I might not be able to play. Who does that? Who does that? 9 hours? 9 hours. Do you know what you can do in 9 hours? Do you know what you can do in 9 hours? How many of y'all operate on 4 or 5 hours sleep? I'm trying to tell you, a cat nap for an hour can make you feel like a new man. How about 4? How about 5? He's Joel Embiid. It's the playoffs. You trying to tell me he couldn't get to the facility and still get 6, 7 hours sleep? Ladies and gentlemen, you can take a nap while they wrapping your ankles. You can take a nap while they giving you a massage. You can take a nap while they rubbing your knees. A pedicure, a manicure. It doesn't matter. You can fall asleep for all of that. I would know. I've done it.
Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio is presented by Progressive Insurance. Guests on the Stephen A. Smith Show appear via the Shell Pennzoil Performance Line, and you can always get in touch with the show through the 1-800-Flowers Twitter feed.
We're joking around in the commercial break. It's kind of, it always feels awkward or clunky to thank the host of a show, Stephen A. Smith, for joining his own show. But it's a huge help, and so thank you is an appropriate response to it, because I have the utmost respect for radio hosts who do this thing solo. That's Stephen A. It's, Mike Golick when he's on, Mike Golick Jr. rather, when he's on First and Last. In the morning, it's Will Kane. Anybody who does this by themselves, where they're just basically talking to no one in particular, because there's no one in the room. It may be occasionally getting help from Kat, getting help from Nuno, whoever is making sure that the radio show is actually off the ground and is in the air, so to speak. I mean, other than that, you're out here chatting away, hoping you get your facts right. You got your takes all lined up, but you're just hoping everything else supports it so you don't embarrass yourself and the network. So it is the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio. I'm Randy Scott, not Stephen A. He's traveling. I believe headed to Oakland from Houston, as there's not much lag time between games 4 and 5. You got an all-square series, obviously 2 apiece, Rockets and Warriors, and I believe there's one travel day, and then you head out to Oakland and you tip it off tomorrow night for Game 5. A reminder, picking out the perfect Mother's Day bouquet is easy with 1-800-Flowers.com. Right now, 1-800-Flowers will give you 24 multicolored roses plus a free vase for only $29.99. To order, go to 1-800-Flowers.com, click the radio icon, and enter code Stephen A. So we're talking, obviously, with Stephen A. about both series last night, and we can sort of begin to spin it forward to tonight and talk about what we saw, or what we will see, rather, from the Raptors and the Sixers. That series is all tied at 2. Likewise for the Nuggets and the Blazers, tied at 2. Kawhi Leonard is, let's be complimentary, he's an assassin. He is a monster. He is a defensive nightmare, both for opposing defenses and in what he brings defensively. And I like going on Basketball Reference, and I did so today because Max Kellerman sort of ran afoul of the Kobe Bryant militia that's out there. Army might be more appropriate, because I think a militia implies a smaller workforce, and the Army is vast and aggressive and creative with GIFs and memes on Twitter if you try to attack their guy. But he said, well, why don't we just let him say it? This is what Max had to say. And Jay Will was on First Take. Obviously, Stephen A. was as well. This was on First Take. And I don't even think there was a debate introduced. I don't think the topic was who you got, Kobe or Kawhi. I think Max just maybe brought this on himself. Listen in.
We're comparing two players, and the reason I'm bringing this up is because you brought up that the Spurs didn't repeat as champions, and that was Kawhi's team. So you're expanding the definition of clutch, and I'm saying, okay, let's look into it. First three were Shaq MVPs in the finals. The next three, Meta bailed them out in Game 7, and then they lost to the Celtics in a different series. So it's not Michael Jordan. No one except Jordan did it every single time. We're comparing Kawhi to Kobe. And the reason you're saying what your eyeballs tell you is because Kobe is maybe the best bad shot maker of all time. So it's memorable that he hit impossible shots under pressure.
Wait a minute. I'm not
Stephen
denying
A.
that.
Stephen A.
Go ahead, Jay.
Don't.
Go ahead.
I'm not going to do
You're right.
it. No, it's okay.
You're right. We can't help you, Max.
I have to go.
We can't help you.
I can't talk about that.
We can't help you.
I can't talk about that.
We really can't.
I can't talk about that.
That was the imagery here, and I know it's great to try to narrate a play-by-play, set the visual on radio, but the imagery there is Jay Will pulling out his phone. Picture Brady Bunch style, a tri-camera shot, right? Left side of the screen is Stephen A. In the middle slot is Jay Will, and on the right side is Max Kellerman, who is just clinging to this idea that Kawhi Leonard, a man who played 9 games last season, who quit on his team in San Antonio. If you listen to anybody who is not the Kawhi Leonard circle, you're talking about someone who said, hey, San Antonio, I appreciate the time, I appreciate the loyalty. I'm done because I'm hurt, and I'm playing for the next location. Say what you want about Kobe Bryant. Kobe would never do that. And I can say what you want about Kobe Bryant because I have. One of the first times I ever got a big swing in any radio seat on this campus, I believe Mike Greenberg was just running late. He legit had car trouble in the spring of whatever Kobe's last season. Was it 16? Spring of 16. On that same night, I don't know if you guys remember, it was April of 2016. It was Kawhi's last game, and it was the Warriors going for win number 73. So there's a lot of history in that night. I think the Warriors had the Jazz, and or maybe Kobe had the Jazz. I can't remember. The Jazz were involved. Whatever the case. And they come over. I'm getting ready for SportsCenter AM, and it's me, and I remember it was Kevin Nagandi as well. And they said, hey, could you guys fill in for the first, half hour of the show until Greeny gets here? And this is 6 o'clock, and it's in the old Mike and Mike studio. And they come over, and they're like, kind of in a pinch. And you can tell they wouldn't ask us if there literally wasn't anyone else that they could ask. And we said, sure, of course. And come on. I don't get these swings. Who am I? Nobody knows who I am. Randy Scott, by the way, filling in for Stephen A. Smith on the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio. And I get in there, and Greeny, or rather Golick, is like, hey, this is going on tonight, and Kobe last day. What do you hope happens tonight for Kobe's last game? And I said, well, I hope he goes 2 for 30 from the field. I hope he gets 6 points. I hope the Lakers lose. Like, I just and I take my shots. And I say, listen, I don't know who this Kobe is, but this isn't the guy that we grew up with. This isn't the assassin. This is the feel-good, make friends, despite the fact that he's already sort of established who he is, and it's not this huggable, likable, aging veteran. It's the Black Mamba. That's who fans appreciate. And I don't know who this guy is. He's a shell of himself, all that stuff. And, of course, we know what he does. He goes for a record. Did he go for 60 that night? 50, 60? I could not have been proven more wrong. But all day, and picture how rabid and active the Kobe fans and Kobe stans and Kobe militia and army. Imagine how aggressive they were when he was still playing. So all day, I got what Max Kellerman is getting today, only Max has a much larger platform, is a much larger presence. And so when you see Max Kellerman trending on Twitter today, you know that's the one fan base, despite Kobe being 3 years retired now, that's the fan base you cannot agitate and go after, especially when I don't know that there is much evidence, statistical or otherwise, that says that you're right here. Kawhi Leonard's not better than Kobe Bryant. Not now. Maybe not ever, but definitely not now. not coming off of a season where he quit on his team, a team where he won one title. How many did Kobe have? It was more than one. And I get it. They're young, and there may be more titles for Kawhi. But Kawhi has already established what is most important to him. And it's not what was most important to Kobe, because that was winning. Step over his own family members to win. Step over his own teammates to win. Burn bridges. Forget friendships. All of that. Love? What is love? He wanted to win. And I'm not saying Kawhi doesn't. I'm just saying he wants to do it on, comfortable SoCal lifestyle. Maybe with the Clippers. Maybe with the Knicks. But not with a team where he could have won in San Antonio had he stayed. So I have a lot of sympathy for Max and what he's going to deal with social media-wise, and he has, Lord knows, thicker skin than I do. I understand what he's dealing with and what is coming his way. And like I said, there may be something statistical that supports what he's saying. We can break this down. There's so many advanced stats, and obviously we can do it here at ESPN. We can say, hey, elbow jumpers, elbow extended, final 2 minutes, third quarter, fourth quarter, crunch time. You can define it however you want. There may be something out there that proves that Kawhi is better. Kawhi might be a better lockdown defender in their respective primes. Maybe. I don't know. I'm grasping here, trying to play devil's advocate, because I just don't see a world, not now and maybe not ever, where Kawhi Leonard is better than Kobe. And trust me, that is not coming from a Kobe fan or a member of the Kobe Bryant army. So that is what has happened with Max. We have plenty going on with the Raptors, with Kawhi's Raptors, who suddenly have taken back home court advantage, and now it's a best of 3, and 2 of those games against the Sixers could potentially be, if there are 2 in Toronto, well, Raptors have home court advantage. They've got the Sixers on the ropes. I can't quite, and it's, okay, I get it, 2-2 on the ropes. With the way Joel Embiid has looked, with the way Joel Embiid has been unable to overcome this stomach issue. One game, it's 11 points, taking 7 shots, 10 shots. Another game, it's 38 points, 37 points, and he looks like a transcendent figure, the Giannis of East Pennsylvania. So the maddening consistency of Kawhi will rock you to sleep. It's boring. Yeah, it's mid-range jumpers. Okay, but it's deadly. It is fatal if you overlook it. And I think the Sixers are in the process of learning that, and Kawhi has the Raptors looking like a team that can contend with Milwaukee. It looks like we're going to have a chalk battle, a 1v2 in the Eastern Conference for the right to go ahead and play either the Warriors or the Rockets, all due respect to the Nuggets and the Blazers. And we'll get into that as well. A reminder, if you missed my opening segment, you go check it out on demand in the Stephen A. Smith podcast. It's brought to you by Capital One. Capital One is reimagining banking, offering accounts with no fees or minimums that can be opened in 5 minutes. Capital One, what's in your wallet? Capital One, N.A., member FDIC. We'll get into Kyrie Irving and his potential farewell in Boston, we'll say, and to Boston and to their fans, and a curious apparel shoe rollout today, considering what Kawhi has done or not done in these potential final games in his Celtics uniform. That and much more. It's Randy Scott in for Stephen A. Smith on the Stephen A. Smith Show on ESPN Radio.
This show and all of ESPN is streaming live on the ESPN app. Now with ESPN Plus, where you get more ESPN. Download the ESPN app today and take ESPN everywhere.
Need game tickets? Find your seats at Vivid Seats.